Hey everybody, it's We Still Like You, the show where people disappoint more than just their moms by telling their most embarrassing stories.
Okay, so this is a nightmare I may not be ready to live through.
I started getting crushes on boys.
Real embarrassed about this.
My mouth gets the best of me pretty much all the time.
Okay, I'm just like, all right.
There we go.
Welcome back to We Still Like You. I'm Jesse Batend, and this week we're celebrating Mother's Day with stories of maternal shame. Later on in the show, Carly Ballerini, suddenly, out of nowhere, finds herself surrounded by a bunch of new siblings. But first, comedian Matty tells this story about the best gift he ever gave his mom. From Chicago, here's Matty Field.
Man, the drive down here, I was sweating the entire time thinking about this story. It was a bit of a drive. It was like an hour for me, so I had a lot of time to think about this 7 minutes, and it was just brought me back to a place I don't want to be, but I'm bringing it to you guys. Let's take a trip back to the early 90s. Looking around the room right now, I think some of you are probably toddlers, but I was a young man coming into his own, discovering things about his own body. I ended up with the nickname Constant Visible Boner. This was a time, this is before internet, this is pre-internet, 1992. We didn't have the access that everybody has nowadays. If you wanted, like at the time, what was really popular was big silicone boobs and big natural bushes. And if you wanted to see that, you couldn't just like bring it up on a phone. That didn't make sense at the time. What you had to do was print media, okay? There was video and there was print media. Bizarre thing to even think about nowadays, and it was hard to come by. When you're a 12-year-old boy, it was really hard to come by this kind of stuff, but it was important to you when you got it. My best friend obtained an issue of a magazine by the name of Ass Blasters, okay? I don't remember which particular issue it was, but it was a really good one. For those anal aficionados out there, it was good. Like, at 12, you're not really an aficionado of anything. Like, anything is good enough. And there was a whole lot of butt stuff, and we were totally fine with that. My best friend, it was like his prized possession. The day came when he got a new issue of something else, and then, like a good best friend, he gifted this to me, and now I owned Ass Blasters. And it was the most excited I had ever been up in that point in my life. I took it home, made a day of it, you know? I just really, I'm surprised I still have a penis, really. And it was during summer vacation. I made the whole day of it. And then, as it's getting closer to 5 o'clock when my parents are scheduled to be home, I start kind of panicking. And my parents were kind of strict, and the idea of hiding porn in the house was something that was, terrifying to me. If they found it, I thought I would just be destroyed. So I didn't know what I should do with the porno. I knew I wanted to keep it. I just didn't know what to do with it. And then for some reason, my pubescent brain flashed back to an episode of G.I. Joe that I watched when I was a child. In this particular episode, the Joes were on the run from Cobra, okay? And then they had to hide somewhere, and one of the Joes came up with this idea. They're like, where's the last place that Cobra would ever think to look for us? In their own base, okay? Yeah, so my pubescent, nervous, panicking mind turned that into, I should hide my porno in my dad's sock drawer. Yeah. So I smuggled it away underneath my dad's stack of socks, and I was like, perfect crime. The following day, my parents leave for work. I'm so excited. I'm really going to give myself a blister today. And I run into my parents' room, and I open my dad's sock drawer, and lo and behold, what do you think is not in the sock drawer? If you guess socks, you're wrong, because it was full of socks. There was no ass blaster in the drawer. I immediately, I think my stomach dropped out of my anus, immediately. I was like, oh my God! And I didn't know what to do, and I was just panicking. And then all day long, I was like on the verge of crying because I just like I'm imagining my parents getting home, and then they just cut off my head or something. And they come home, and I'm just sort of avoiding eye contact, avoiding them at all costs. Nothing happens. We sit down for dinner. I'm just quietly eating my meal, not making eye contact, expecting the worst. Nothing happens. After dinner, I'm just like, well, I got homework, and I just headed upstairs to my room, locked myself in there to avoid my parents. No one ever came to the door to come and yell at me about porno and like pointed in my face and be like, what's with this ass blasters? That never happened. And I was thinking like, did I get away with this? I can't believe I got away with this. And I got away with it with no punishment, which was amazing. Until that night, punishment didn't come in the form of like you're grounded. It came in the form of groans of ecstasy coming from my parents' bedroom that I could hear coming through our shared wall. Okay? Which is horrifying. And this went on for like a month. This is like, whether it was intentional or not, this is like the most cruel, like, torture that you can inflict on a child. It was so disgusting. And the only thing that I could think, like, it was like one of two things could have happened. Like, my dad opened the sock drawer, and he found this magazine and was like, oh, ass blasters. I guess this is Pat giving me, like, a menu of what's happening tonight. Right? Or it was like my mom went to like put socks in his drawer and then found that and was like, oh, Randy's into this. I guess we've been married for 20 some years already. It's time to open the gate to the dirt road and just, I guess that's what's going to happen now. And I'm not even lying that this was like, it was like every night. I just like listen, my parents just grunting away in their room. And like I almost, like, then this is 100% true that on the way driving here, I called my parents because today is their wedding anniversary. And like, they've been married for 46 years today. Yeah. And like, I feel like I sort of deserve some of the credit for that. I don't know if they would have lasted this long if I hadn't introduced that into their life. So now you guys know how I saved my parents' marriage. And you know what G.I. Joe says, knowing is half the battle. That's all for me. Thank you.
Were they happier?
Yes, they were.
Oh my God.
Not that things were bad before that, but it was like after that, they were just like just prancing around the house, and like everything was great.
That's amazing. Okay, you, and then live art.
Comedian Matty Field. Up next, Carly Ballerini thins the herd. Growing up, Carly Ballerini was an only child, until one day, she got a new family member, and then another, and they just kept coming. Furry, feathered squatters that she never wanted. From Chicago, here's Carly Ballerini.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. Oh my God. The first thing that I wrote, like on my little thing, was like, I don't necessarily believe in eugenics. So I'm not going to start with that. All right. My mom is a bipolar clown who met my dad in a mental institution and then made me. And went to clown college after that, okay? So, just like some people, you know. Okay. So I grew up weird. We were like very poor. People say that all the time. When I was little, I thought that landlords hated summer because we would get evicted so much in summer. Like I was like, oh, this is when they get mad, right? So we would get evicted all the time. We were always like from house to house. We would go to like, my mom was like a scam artist clown. She was like a fun scam artist clown. We would get evicted a lot, but then we would also go to like shelters a lot. And we'd go like homeless shelters and battered women shelters and all the shelters, right? So while we were doing that, my mom was real into collecting animals. She was like real into pets. She loved getting pets. You can't have a pet when you don't have a house. That's like one thing I knew instinctively as a child, right? My mom would just like, we would be like eating oranges for like a week, and then my mom would be like, I got 3 hamsters. For a long time, when I was little, I just thought I was like a sociopath. Cause like I hated animals. But it turns out I just don't like wild pets that are living in your car. Okay, so that's me excusing myself from this. So she would get like a lot of pets, and then I would kill them. Okay, but not looking all right, just hold on. Just wait a minute, right? Not in like a way where I was like, I'm gonna kill you, but like in more of like a let this guy free sort of a way, you know? So like she would get a hamster and I'd be like, go play in the yard, stuff like that. So she would just like bring them home and then I would let them go. Like one time I let a fish go in a puddle, stuff like that. So it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily great for the animal. But I was like, all right, like, good job, you got out. You know what I mean? Death, or whatever. I meant to say Godspeed, and it just came out death. Okay, all right. So I was shut up, Bobby. So I was letting animals go like a lot, right? But then something magical happened. So my mom got a hamster. We named it eloquently Little Pig, right? It was a guinea pig. We named it Little Pig. So she brought this guy home, Little Pig. He peed on me. I was like, you're gonna take a trip in the yard, right? So I like tried to let him go a couple of times, and he just like was not into it. He was just like, he just would come back all the time. So then I just like kept him, and he was like the mainstay, right? I was like, all right, well, this guy, he's coming back, so he's like fine. So I just like let him live for a long time, and then we got a dog. It was like a little Shih Tzu named Smokey, and Smokey was actually like a good dog. Like he like figured out how to poop outside right away, which I was like, you extra 3 months for you, buddy. You know, it's like you got it. And he was just like pretty good. And then he and Little Pig formed like a beautiful relationship. Like they were best friends. So like Smokey would get in Little Pig's cage, and then Little Pig would climb on Smokey's head, and they would sleep together. It was like very cute. And I was like, this is friendship. So then I would just try to let them go together. But they would never do it. They would always just like sunbathe in the yard and then come back inside. Like, thanks, and then like walk away. So I was like, all right, chill. We're gonna like live together forever. That's fine. And then my mom got this shitty bird. His name was like Rocky, and he was a shitty bird. I didn't like him. He was like one of those ones with like the fucking thing, and he would just like walk around like, yeah, I like that guy. So I was like, this guy is getting out of here like so quick. One day I got home and he had killed Little Pig. Yeah, he was like flying around with his little fucking thing, and then Little Pig was dead and Smokey was under the table. So I was like, this dude is done. So I opened the door and I let him go. All I know is that he was squawking a lot for 3 days and then he wasn't. Because he got stuck in a tree for 3 days. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so hello. Carly Ballerini.
Carly Ballerini. And that does it for this episode. Hope you got a chance to kiss your mom yesterday, or at least shake her hand. If you enjoyed today's episode, do us a favor and leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. It helps other moms out there find it and makes them feel less alone when their kids don't give them gifts as good as Matty gave his mom. The next We Still Like You live show is We Still Like You Louisville on May 31st. Get more info at facebook.com/WeStillLikeYou or WeStillLikeYou.com. The next Chicago show is going to be our Pride show on June 9th. So we really look forward to seeing everybody there. It's always wonderful, and it's probably going to sell out. So if you know you want to come, maybe want to snag some tickets as soon as they're available. You can also share this episode on your social media. I'm sure that your mom will totally approve of that. So don't disappoint her. If you really want to help out the show, check out patreon.com/WeStillLikeYou. In exchange for a small donation every month, you get some real cool stuff, and you are more than welcome to make that donation in your mom's name if you forgot to give her a gift yesterday. If you want to tell a story at We Still Like You, check out WeStillLikeYou.com for a link to the submission page, or you can always just send us an email with your story to WeStillLikeYou@gmail.com. In the meantime, I'm Jesse Batend, and thank you so much for listening.